Well, hello everybody and welcome to a new video where we are going to test the Nvidia Quadro T2000 Max-Q in the DELL Precision 5540 in Star Wars Battlefront 2. And we're going to use the highest settings preset, 1080p, and we're playing a solo with a lot of bots. If we actually can start. Now we can start. And yeah, so far this is looking pretty good. I mean, this is the professional brother of the GTX 1650, which you can find in the Dell XPS 7590. So it's a card from 2019. This laptop is obviously from 2019 as well. It has the T2000 Max-Q. It also has the i9-9880H, so an 8-core CPU and 32 GB of RAM. The i9 I have limited to the base clock speeds of 2.3 GHz in order to limit most of the throttling, which otherwise probably will occur in this machine, because if any of you actually knows the Dell XPS line, which is basically what the Precision is, just with professional grade components like the Nvidia Quadro graphics cards or Intel vPro CPUs like this i9, they are prone to throttle down when they're when they're loaded heavily with games like this, where the CPU as well as the GPU is being utilized pretty heavily. So yeah, we already saw in Battlefield 1 that the GPU for some reason was completely limited to 30 watts, but we are not seeing this kind of problem right now. Excuse me. Yeah, so far we're seeing over 70 FPS. Oh no, it's over 60 FPS most of the time, and we do have a lot of vegetation, but I do think with all the sand, usually the sand maps in this engine are the easier ones to run. But yeah, there is a lot of action going on around us, so that should still give us a good idea how well this game will run in general. And yeah, so far this is an absolutely great and very smooth and playable experience with no drops whatsoever. And I would most certainly not mind to play like that. And I can only see really half of my screen because I'm sitting behind a camera, so forgive my gameplay. But yes, so far this is looking pretty good. Oh, and we are seeing the power throttling to 30 watts now. And I don't know what it is, because with the Dell XPS 7590, which I had last year here, which was the i7 version, the GPU 1650 would actually go down to 30 watts if it was hitting over 70 degrees for a longer period of time, but it would go up back to the 50 watts, which it was actually designed to run at some point. But when I was playing Battlefield 1 earlier, I actually did not see this happening at all. So yeah, I guess with this machine you will have to live with your card being throttled down to 30 FPS, because unlike the XPS, where you can actually undervolt your GPU and limit your GPU, you can do no such thing with this one, because Nvidia simply doesn't allow anybody to tinker around with the Nvidia Quadro GPUs at all. So yeah, what you're seeing is what you will get, and you will not be able to change that, sadly. But even though we're just running at 30 watts with this GPU, which I guess you will simply have to live with that you won't get the full potential of your GPU, of your T2000 in this laptop. But even at 30 watts, it is actually pretty playable. I mean, we are more in the 60s and even dropping a little bit beneath 60 FPS right now, which we did not see earlier, where we obviously were around the 70 FPS mark. But nevertheless, it is still a playable experience here. And I guess that the trade-off for that is that you actually have a very, very quiet machine. Like this Precision has super quiet fans and very, very very, very low-pitched fans, so you won't really notice them. And that obviously is a good thing, but I think for a workstation-grade laptop, they should at least give you the option to let your system run a little bit louder or hotter or whatever in order to actually increase the wattage on your GPU. Because yeah, obviously we are not seeing so great FPS anymore. And yeah, I don't really think that the 30 watt cap will actually lift again if we do not end this program and start it new. So yeah, that is kind of bad and kind of sad, but yeah, I guess you still will be able to play this game comfortably at, I mean, we're at the high preset, you can even go and lower the settings, which I don't really think is necessary, because this really feels super smooth. Even though we're only around the 60 FPS mark, this is very, very smooth. So yeah, I really wouldn't mind playing like this. Yeah, and now you have seen how this game runs on the T2000 Max Q edition, at the beginning at least, because the 40 watt caps in the beginning of the video is probably where most Max Q versions of this card were sit. And yeah, it's going back up. Yeah, right now, okay. This right now is the performance you should expect from a Max Q T2000, which actually is running to basically its full potential. And yeah, I guess the Precision actually allows your card to go back up again at some point. But I mean, we will see 40 watts here, and for, I don't know, I guess give or take 2-3 minutes, and then it will go and throttle back down to 30 watts again. So yeah, I'm pretty sad that it actually doesn't manage to keep the wattage higher, because this one with the i9 even has an improved cooling solution where the VRMs are actually firmly padded, so it actually should be able to maintain higher wattages for a longer period of time than my XPS with the i7, which I had earlier, but it seems that this is not the case. And I guess the ambient room temperature here is around 20 degrees Celsius, so it is a fairly cool room as well. So I guess in summertime it should be even worse than what we are seeing right now. But yeah, it's still absolutely playable, perfectly fine, and you do not really see any major dips, because with the earlier XPS models you would have your CPU go down to 1.3 GHz or whatever. And you can even see that with the new 2020 and after that XPSs, where you have a huge problem with your FPS basically getting cut in half due to the fact that the CPU is only allowed to run at 12 and 13 watts or something in most titles. Yeah, so you've seen that you can play the game, you can definitely enjoy it, even if it's capped at 30 watts at sometimes with this card. But yeah,